All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that's a necessity going forward in business. Facebook has over 2.5 billion people on the platform. Today, we have an expert on Facebook for real estate leads and real estate lead generation. Jaime Resendiz is on the show. He's a new partner of ours. Super excited for this podcast, guys. He's going to share some really good gold nuggets on how to build a business as a real estate professional off of Facebook. Welcome to the show, Jaime. How you doing, man?
Thanks for the invite, Connor. Doing well. Thanks so much.
Yeah, man. So you're out there killing it, and a lot of people reaching out to you for your expertise in the social media space, and that's actually how we met in the first place, right? So we did meet through social media strategies or friends that knew us through social media, right? This is how business is done these days. Everything's moving cloud-based, everything's moving internet-based, everything's moving social media-based, and you have a lot of individuals in the marketplace, especially the older generation, that are pushing back on adopting this new way of doing business. And this could be the end of their business going forward if they don't understand this, and a lot of them don't see it as a threat. But I promise you guys, if you are not investing your time in learning these skill sets, 3 to 5 years from now, you will be pushed out of the marketplace by competitors that did take the time to invest. Now, Jaime can help you with this. He's going to help a lot of us on today's podcast. Let's dig in, man. Let's talk about real quick, just quickly share with you how you got into real estate. Then let's talk about how you transitioned and what you tried a little bit before and why you are now using Facebook and dominating the marketplace and helping other people do the same.
Well, I entered real estate a little bit over 2 years ago. So I had one of those C-level positions, CFO of a network of compounding pharmacies. So it's fantastic. But healthcare is just a tough road to hoe. It's incredibly difficult. But just real estate has always been it attracted me, even though I had no concept of what real estate was, real estate investing, and anything of that nature. So prior to me offboarding there, I started investing in real estate through just having a realtor, and that person would just give me some, deals, if you will. So I would passively invest in real estate. Then I jumped in real estate full time. Originally, it came through a business brokerage that I started. So I was helping business owners sell their business. And I did not know this at the time, but I had to have a real estate license in order for me to participate in the sale of real estate. So in that case, it would be commercial real estate. So I got it almost it was a pay to play, if you will, but the space that I was in was business brokerage. And it quickly transformed into me focusing more on real estate than the actual business brokerage. So I've just been doing that ever since.
Okay, so what did you try? What were you doing when you started out? Because a lot of people are still going down the traditional path. I mean, not that it doesn't work. People are doing outdoor advertising, print advertising, direct mail, postcards, yellow letters, things like that. Now, a lot of people are transitioning into cold calling centers. They're transitioning into social media strategies, paid or unpaid strategies. So what made you transition to Facebook, and what was your first break? How would even someone get started? Because this seems to be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people. And maybe you can kind of bring that tension down, let them realize it's not that much, it's in their mind, right? They're creating it more difficult in their mind than it actually is. And once they figure this out, it's rinse and repeat, and they can build a business quickly.
And there it is, rinse and repeat, the ability to scale. That's what drew me to it. So in my previous position, I was semi in charge of business development as well. And I understood the economies of scale concept and understood leveraging. So even though I didn't do the door knocking or cold calling because my personality, there's just some limitations in that regard, or at least self limits in my mind. It's not something that I ever wanted to even master, because there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. There's only a certain amount of doors that you can personally knock. So the scalability in those methods, to your point, they are effective to a certain extent. They just weren't as scalable in my mind. So Facebook is something that I pretty much immediately jumped into and figured out. And at that time, there was, it was starting to come about. Some people were starting to make some significant money on cracking the code, if you will. Now it seems that everybody has cracked the code according to Facebook and YouTube and all the ads that come on when you're trying to watch a video. But at that time, it was a lot of, I guess now as well, but there was a lot of snake oil out there, salesmen that just really didn't necessarily know what they were talking about. So I knew that I wasn't going to put my any business venture in somebody else's hands when I could do that myself, or at least attempt to. And that's kind of the motivation of what made me want to figure out Facebook, Google, YouTube, and all the social media platforms, because I understood that a skill set is very important, not only for myself, but to be able to never be out of a job if I ever wanted to get back into the corporate world per se.
Right. So let's talk about this real quick, because a lot of people have been traditionally classically trained to either cold call or do direct mail. Direct mail is a very common strategy that's taught out there widely across investors and agents. Very, very expensive though, and it only gets in the mailbox and barely gets in their hand for a second before they throw it away. Most people don't save the mailers. What you can do with social media marketing and retargeting and pay-per-click marketing, you can get directly on that person's computer in their room late at night when they're sitting on their bed with no distractions, and literally you're getting into a more I don't know what's the correct word here, maybe intimate place where people have the privacy to really digest information. Plus you're on video. Video is way more powerful as far as delivering a message, because you're implementing all parts of the communication process. Your text, tone, tonality, inflection of the voice, and nonverbal body language communication. It's very, very important to have that communication to build business, because business doesn't happen without communication. And when you're doing some type of static marketing piece, you don't have that. So let's kind of talk about how you can, let's talk about paid ads versus unpaid ads, two different strategies. Let's first start off on basic strategies for agents or investors to get going on Facebook with no money. Where should they start? Because that's where most of them are really at. And then as they make money, let's kind of transition to some paid strategies, and then talk about the changes with Facebook. And then we're going to kind of dig into maybe some retargeting and things like that.
If you have no money, specifically on Facebook, and that's where you're trying to dominate, you need to start in Facebook Marketplace. So Facebook Marketplace has a lot of activity. So the traffic is there, the attention is there. All you need to do is get in front of those eyeballs. You need to just put yourself in the conversation. So it works very common. Well, it's very comparable to Craigslist. However, it's on the Facebook platform. So you can post a listing, you can post information, you can post your services, very same methodology as Craigslist, but on Facebook. And the magnifier, and I think that this is where Facebook Marketplace wins out when you're comparing it against Craigslist, is that they can actually see you as a person. They get to see you, all the pictures that you uploaded 3 years ago. If you're not proud of them, you might want to get rid of them. But they can see you as a person, as opposed to on Craigslist, you're dialing a random number that you don't know about. So in Craigslist, there's a reason that whenever the sale happens, you typically do it in a public space or in front of the police station. So the exchanges in that regard. But on Facebook Marketplace, again, you can put listings if you don't have your own, get one from your brokerage, from another brokerage if you ask for permission. And there's no limit on the amount of listings that you can have out there, the amount of posts that you can make about the same listings. The thing that you would need to do in that regard would be make your post different enough so Facebook doesn't categorize it as a replica. So change up your text and change up your images, because Facebook can detect that as well. And you can very well have 3 different posts, 5 different posts on the very same listing, and have people contact you directly via Messenger and start that conversation. So that would be a place that I would start immediately on Facebook Marketplace to have direct conversations about real estate.
Okay, you said something interesting about a replica. Does that mean if you're doing the same ad over and over and over, that Facebook will figure that out and they'll stop promoting that ad? Or is that how that kind of works? Is that what you're meaning?
So the post will get flagged and it won't show. Right. So if it sees it as a duplicate, if you put 5-bed, 4-bath, 3-car garage, 12 or whatever that is, 2,500 square feet, if you keep posting, copying and pasting, Facebook will catch that. Right. So you want to put a different variation in text and a different variation when you upload your images.
Right. And that's also for Craigslist marketing. That's a big problem people have, is that they're getting their ads ghosted and flagged. Okay. So from a psychology purpose, what are you seeing most the agent clients that you're working with? What are you seeing most serious professionals doing this? Are they using their Facebook account primarily to target customers and clients as far as buyers and sellers, or are they using it to more build business networking relationships with other professionals, like how we are now partners? Or they're obviously doing both, but what do you think is the most impactful? Where are they gaining the best opportunity in the marketplace right now?
where I see most people be successful is when they pick their lane. So when they pick their lane, and what I mean by that is if you're going to be the personality, or if you're going to be the person that engages in a quote unquote real authentic way, then stick with that strategy. And if you're going to be the person that goes down the lane of not doing that and are focused more as for Facebook to be a tool and you're running Facebook ads, stay on that path, because if you cross mingle, then you're going to lose your identity, if you will. So on Facebook business page, you can make it all about business and run ads and be very effective with it. You know that when you land on my business page, you are here for business, or in some regard to have a real estate conversation. When you're over on my personal page, then you're going to get me. You're going to get me from whatever I'm doing. Now, of course, there is opportunities for you to do cross promotion in sharing your business into your personal life, because that's a big part of it. People do that all of the time that are not in sales, that are in their W-2 jobs or whatever the case may be in their corporate world. So you can do the same thing, but as far as trying to operate everything under one account, I just haven't seen it be very effective unless you are known as that person. But a lot of people aren't able to pull that off.
Right. And I probably messed up. I should have hired you earlier, back when I got on Facebook, because I kind of went the wrong path on Facebook, and I did kind of overwhelm people with business and just pound it and kind of threw it down people's throat through my personal page. Now it's kind of too late to take it back. So it's working now for kind of what I want. But at the same time, it hinders my ability to do other things that I wanted with that account. Is it possible to shut accounts down and relaunch accounts? Do people do that? Is there a reason to do that if they've somehow, or is it just best to unfriend everybody and refill the pipeline? And are there strategies that you're doing like that, where, because you only have, from what I understand, a limitation of 5,000 friends.
5,000 on personal, yeah.
Let's say you've had those 5,000 friends on there for 6 months, and you're using your page for Facebook, or you're using your page for business. Say you're selling courses, or you're trying to generate, whatever type of business you're doing. Once that kind of goes stale, is there a reason to, what would be the best thing to do? Just unfriend them?
I mean, I certainly wouldn't delete it, because you have a captive audience, whether you realize it or not. And yes, Facebook will limit the exposure with whatever you post. So simply because you post once doesn't mean that 5,000 of your people are going to see it. So I would go about and delete the people that just aren't going to benefit you. And I know it sounds a bit callous, but you need to make room. You would need to make room. The last thing I would do would be delete it. I would almost encourage you to actually create another account and do it that way, than rather have you lose 5,000 followers, because you never know who's watching.
Right.
Now, while I don't see what you did as a mistake in any stretch of the imagination, because you do have a large captive audience, again, whether you realize it or not, you're not sure. You may not be as sure of who's watching, because maybe the services that you're able to provide now, they weren't looking for them a year ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but now they may. And you've indoctrinated them in such a manner where when they actually have the need, they're not going to go to anybody else because they've seen you.
Right. So I think it's just more like depending on the individual, what they want to use their following for. And so, guys, if you're just trying to build a popularity contest and have friends and socialize, then that's okay. But if you're using it for business, I don't see a problem with, if you had to maybe get some of those off there, because let's be honest, this is a business entrepreneurship channel. This is for business. If you're not gaining business from using it, then what are you doing? Unless you just want to have a bunch of wasted time kind of plug around out there, like seems to be what most people do anyways. Okay, let's talk about a number of different things. Let's talk about Facebook Live, bots. And first off, let's go ahead and talk about, so Facebook just changed some rules up from what I understand. A lot of people kind of freaking out. Some people are thinking it's an opportunity. Some people think it's not opportunity, which is usually what happens when big changes happen. Half the people go, oh no, the world's dying. Other people see it as an opportunity to learn the next step before their competition learns that step. Okay, so what are the rules that they just changed? Because I know you used to be able to target down certain variables of motivation and certain criteria to do paid ads to and marketing to, but now they've released these or changed some of these. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, they limited your capability to reach your end user quicker. So again, it's just getting to them quicker. So that's really the only change in regards to the sales strategy. Now, functionality that has changed. But again, just think of, you can't get to them as quick anymore. So that's really the biggest limitation. A lot of people are freaking out, and the change happened in July of this year. So that happened for credit, housing, and employment ads. In our case, we're talking about housing. So the changes that occurred there is you can no longer get to the 1 mile radius. So if you're trying to target a specific neighborhood or a specific area within a town, you're no longer able to do that. The smallest radius that you can do in housing these days is 15 miles. So that's one big change. As far as interest, you weren't able to do likely to move or renters or homeowners. That has been gone for about 2 years now. But what has changed is you're no longer able to exclude other realtors. You're no longer able to include certain interests. You're no longer really anything that has to do with demographics as far as of a person. That's no longer as targeted. You can't select between male and female. You can't select between ages anymore. So 18 plus will be receiving your ads. So I know that some people were strategically focusing on people that were in advanced age, and we're offering them lists such as single story homes or things of that nature, with the methodology of, well, they're probably downsizing at this point because the kids are grown. You can't target people that are new parents, which you were able to do that in the past. So there have been some significant changes in regards to getting to your end user quicker, but the opportunity hasn't gone away. It's just a different way of getting to them. Hope that makes sense.
I mean, it seems kind of, as a business owner and I built multiple businesses, guys, like, it just doesn't it seem like that's kind of crazy that their entire business is based around paid ads? That's how they bring in their revenue. And then they just basically told everybody that's using that, and the reason why they're using it was all those variables that they could target people to increase the efficiency of the dollar that they're spending on their marketing. When you can't dig down to certain variables of motivation and certain characteristics of the avatar of the person that you're marketing towards, you really limit yourself. Now you're throwing a shotgun approach instead of a rifle kind of sniper approach, and it just kind of seems counterintuitive to what they're doing. Why would they? Do you know what the reason is?
The fair housing lawsuits, and Facebook has always had the privacy issues, and they're going to continue having that. Which for us as people that are trying to market to, for us it's, hey, get as much data as you can. At least that's how I feel. Maybe other people feel differently, but the privacy concerns are going to continue having. This one was more specifically to housing issues or fair housing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was going to say, if that was a business move, you should be embarrassed with who you hired to make those decisions.
No. It really is fair housing. And in a way I can kind of see it. Am I happy about it? No, but I can kind of see it as you're pre-filtering in the front end. So in order for them to get rid of that altogether, they just didn't make those options available to us when it comes to credit, housing, and employment. If you're running any other types of ads, it's still game on in that regard. And the question that I commonly get is, well, what if I don't click the little button that says it's that type of ad? Really, the answer to that is good luck getting it approved. Facebook loves booting people off if you can't play nice.
Right. So what's a good way to position going forward as far as a thought process, as far as future strategies? What do you think
right.
you be putting their attention on? Obviously you teach people how to do this, but like on this call, like what is just a leading step? If they were doing those strategies, what's a good idea for them to now stop panicking, but just adjust?
No, good question. So first thing is, and as basic as it sounds, is have a strategy. I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, but it really isn't. You need to have a strategy. Before, the easy button was available to you. You pressed an ad and cha-ching, lead after lead after lead, sell after sell after sell, right? But now, the first thing you would need to do is have a strategy, and don't count on one ad cutting it anymore. At this point, you have to go down the sales funnel. You need to go from the top to the bottom to where you're warming up your audience. whether you realize that or not, that's exactly what you do in any marketing. So the first step would be installing your Facebook pixel. So if this is the first time you're hearing about Facebook pixel, you're behind, but that's okay. There are plenty of resources on YouTube that will share how to install your Facebook pixel. And the importance of that Facebook pixel cannot be underestimated, because that is where your retargeting capabilities come from. So you can launch your ad and you can specifically tell Facebook, hey, on my next ad, I only want people that responded to this particular ad, or I only want people that landed on my landing page, but also went to my checkout page or my second page if you're looking at of real estate leads, and only target those people that showed additional intentionality. So you can retarget and have specific messages catered to who you want to target to, and that it becomes overwhelming if you don't have a strategy. So right. if you're throwing a different message out on this Facebook page and completely blindside them with a irrelevant ad as a retargeting ad, then you're just going to fail. So having a strategy is very important. Installing your Facebook pixel and then running retargeting ads is the name of the game at this point.
Right. I don't think that's cliche at all. I mean, I've coached a lot of entrepreneurs over the years. Most people wake up and they wing it. And I tell people all the time, winging it is not a business strategy. That is a recipe to fail and go out of business and lose a lot of money. But that's what happens. Most people start their day and react from day one. They get out of bed, they open up their phone, they start reacting to everything around them. Successful people, guys, control their day and everything else reacts around them. Like if someone calls me, they have to wait for me to call them back. I don't just pick up the phone and answer, because I control my day and I let everything react around me. What most people do is they answer every email, answer every phone call. Guys, it's not rude to not pick up. It's only rude to not call back. Just think about that. You need to have designated times throughout your day where you're focused on what you're doing with high levels of focus. I call them power hours. People call it, you've heard before. So you're turning off your phone, your emails, you're getting highly focused, concentrated work. Because if you start a task for 7 minutes, have someone contact you, break your concentration, get on the phone, come back, you're having no focus, sustained momentum throughout your day, and you're not producing at a high performance level. Okay, now you mentioned something with pixels and retargeting. Let's dig in a little bit here, because this is something that more people need to understand. A lot of people understand the power of repetitious marketing. You see this with commercials, radio ads, direct mail. But the reason why individuals are liking Facebook and YouTube and internet strategies is because you can retarget them, and you can do it for a very cheap cost, and you can be very targeted and scalable. Let's talk about retargeting a little bit more, maybe some costs for maybe an average ad that you're running, and then what a cost for maybe a typical retargeting click would be that you're seeing out there right now for main keywords or for main searches.
So retargeting clicks are going to be generally a little bit more expensive, because you've really fine-tuned it to a more qualified lead. So your first ad is going to be what I call an anchor ad. And you're trying to get people out of the woodworks at that point. You want people raising their hand. As soon as they raise their hand, there should be no reason that you lose their attention. So you're having another ad right behind it, retargeting those people, and you're walking them down the sales funnel. At the end of the day, they may not purchase from you, but at least you have a strategy so you can have that conversation and at least give you their information. So in terms of cost, $2 to $5 is where you would want to be for a buyer ad. I typically see $5 and above for seller ads. And when I say these, I'm talking about actual qualified conversations, people that are not throwing in just junk information. There's a lot of posts out there that there's the bait posts that that just name came up to me because I hadn't coined it before, but there's a lot of bait posts out there that will show you an unearthly amount of leads for 12 cents. It's like, 5,000 leads for 12 cents. Well, come on. So those can be so enticing. Those can be, hey, just let me know if you want this high performing post that for $5 you got 10,000 leads. Just drop your email below. Come on now. So there's a lot of those, unfortunately, which at the end of the day, here's the secret. You don't get the actual ad. You get a different ad. That's what happens. So when I say $2 to $5, that's very reasonable, very doable, because it's being done. And these are actual conversations that you can have with real life people that are looking to buy, maybe not today, maybe not next week, but in the next 3 months, the next 6 months.
Awesome. So let's talk about, so what are things that Facebook loves and really likes and likes to promote, and what are some of the things that they're like, absolutely not? Obviously, we know they hate YouTube. Just for example, certain sites. So if you have a YouTube link in the post, I learned that. So what are things that they like that they'll promote your posts organically, and then what are some things that they'll just kill the post and say, we don't like that whatsoever?
External links will kill it right off the bat. So if you're trying to take people away from the Facebook platform, that is a no-go. You'll still get some likes, you'll still get some exposure, but if you can upload organically, that's what you want to do. That's what you'll want to do regardless. And if you're really, let's just say, a YouTube person that is trying to build an audience on YouTube, you're going to want to be okay with uploading natively, because you may lose some views, if you will, if they see it on Facebook, but the Facebook experience is not as good as it is on YouTube. Prime example would be that you can fast forward to 2x on YouTube. There's not a video that I watched that is not 2x, including mine. So I just want to consume information as quickly as possible. So as far as the user experience, if those people are users of Facebook, they will end up going to your channel to view your content. So I don't buy the argument of you're losing 80% of your audience on Facebook if you do it natively, because I just don't. I've spoken to enough people to know that that's not true. So yes, you don't want to just drop links unless you're okay with sacrificing the exposure or captive audience that you have on Facebook. You don't want to do that. You want to upload directly. And doing Facebook Live, as far as to your question of, what's working, what's being exposed, what's being magnified on Facebook and being pushed, would be Facebook Live. And that's any platform that has a live capability. That includes Instagram. You now have the ability to do live on LinkedIn, and that's a relatively new thing that happened on LinkedIn. I think it's less than 3 months old, that capability. So live is being promoted across all platforms, whether you're doing it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn. That will be broadcasted to people that aren't even your friends, because they want to pull people into their ecosystem for that captured attention.
That's some good information about the LinkedIn. I'm going to start using that. So I need to contact all my assistants right now and tell them we've been botching our Facebook strategies for so long. I am still, I guess, one of those where, I wanted to have the views through YouTube. So what a lot of people don't understand, and you get this, but a lot of people, they kind of classify social media as like you're on social media, like as if somehow you're on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything, and doing everything well. And most people are on everything, but usually you see they have one or two specific platforms that they focus on, and they may have huge followings on those, but they may have horrible strategies and horrible followings on the others because they're on them just because they thought they need to, but they don't have time to learn it. So that's important, because I have been embedding my YouTube links there. Let's talk about that, because a lot of the reasons why you see most creators tell people that they're on YouTube with video and not Facebook is because what? YouTube pays them, right? They get AdSense, but Facebook's now starting to do that, or they're about to, or do you know what's going on with that? Or
you would need to be a large partner. You would need to be a large partner in order for you to get some revenue from Facebook. And the views that you see, I mean, it seems that any motivational video on Facebook has 30 million, 50 million views, and on YouTube it has maybe 100,000, which is still a large number. But the revenue system is completely different. You're not going to have as many partners on Facebook than you do on YouTube. On YouTube, the criteria to get into that would be 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched within the first year in order for you to submit your application to be a YouTube partner. But for Facebook, it is pretty exclusive, and you would need to have a significant following in order for you to monetize that. So for most of what we do, in full transparency, it's not a reality to get the Facebook fame, if you will, or be partnered in that regard.
Right. So guys, full disclosure here, social media people are not making as much as y'all think through AdSense. Like, I mean, like we may break even just with our cost to run our YouTube channel just through the AdSense. So the reason why you're as a business owner on these platforms is not to build business so much through AdSense, which will, it grows up. I mean, it's a few $1,000s a month, decent money, but you're not going to get rich. Now, if you blow up huge and build million subscribers, yeah, that can happen. But the real reason people are using social media is the businesses they're attached to that following through their consulting, their sales, their raising capital. That's why you're building the channel. Because all the time I have these young guys think I'm making all this money through, AdSense, like I'm making 50 grand a month. I'm like, guys, it's not that way. Now you can make a lot of money through the businesses that you drive traffic to, but that's important distinction to point out. Let's talk about this. This is a big question. So this is a big battle in the mind of a lot of new social media people, quality versus quantity. Should you be just pumping this out over and over and over and just making sure you get lots of content out? And it's still okay, but you can tell they're doing volume. Or is it better to go the route of, hey, let's put a lot of time in this video, make it clean, make it professional, have jump cuts, all sorts of pop-ups, overlays, video crew coming in, and you kind of get where I'm going. What do you think, as your opinion personally, what do you think is a better approach?
So I've been going through spurts. Right now, I'm actually in a video a day mode, and it's just a beating. So it's very difficult to do a video a day, especially if you're the one recording, editing, uploading, optimizing, and throwing it out there. So as far as my GCI, you can tell that has an inverted relationship significantly. If you're starting out, I would suggest it would be more of a repetition strategy for you. So I would suggest more content, because you're not going to have the quality to be completely blunt with you. You're not going to have the, hey, you need to have this type of lighting, you need to have this type of audio, this isn't going to work. So the more repetitions, the more at-bats that you have at the beginning, the better. And honestly, you're not going to have that many people watching anyway. So it's okay to go ahead and mess up your first 30 videos, because your audience isn't going to be large. You can have the most polished video, $1,000 production into that video, and you're going to have 12 views. Right. So at the beginning, unless it really pops off, which one in a full moon will, it's just not sound advice to go, hey, you have the most quality focused at the beginning. Right. At least I don't see that. Now, once you have a audience, then yeah, I would suggest that you try to beef up the quality. But at the beginning, you're not going to be sure what quality even looks like outside of watching the bigger players in the space. And those bigger players in the space aren't doing everything themselves. So for you to think that you're going to have that production quality that a $2,000 camera produces and a $500 an hour editor does, it's unrealistic. So I just want to be honest with you in that regard. So at the beginning, I would suggest do a little bit more quantity. Yes, try to make good quality content in its purest form of what you're communicating. But as far as production value, I wouldn't put that much stock in it right now.
I'd agree with that. That's pretty much what we're doing right now. So, and guys, if you're putting out a lot, you're increasing your chances for one to stick, and you have one go viral. In real estate, viral is like 100,000 views, and in other spaces it's millions and millions. But real estate's a small market. But if you get one or two videos to explode, which I see it on our channel, maybe like 1 or 2 out of 100, just looking at our data sample, explode. But in the beginning, everybody's like, bashing me because I was just putting videos out at the dry erase board mark, and they're spending $1,000 per video. And then down the road, like I have people all the time leave comments on the channel, and they're like, "Oh, this video sucked." And I'm like, "Dude, I just checked out your channel. You have 17 subscribers and 12 videos on there that you put all this time into, and I have 20 plus 5,000 subscribers now, who's going down the right path? And it's kind of just, people need to stop being perfectionists and trying to make everything so polished and nice. And they just need to get volume out to be found. And then, like you're saying, once you have the attention, then focus on retention of viewership and making the videos more quality, either by having better quality content or better quality of the video of what you're doing. And so I think you're right. Okay, let's talk about a couple more things here. What about bots? I get a lot of questions about bots. Is this something you're using? Is this a good strategy? Is this a waste of time? Is it expensive?
Messenger, they are worth it. They are worth it. You're still at a point where the open rate on messages, essentially is what the messenger bots are, is just an automated, think of email marketing, but in Facebook Messenger form. The open rates are still high enough to where if you get in there and figure out how it works, it's still worth it to do that. So you're still at a good spot to, if you're thinking about learning it, then I would suggest that you do learn it. The open rates are showing good traction in that regard. So in the very near future, I see that going away. But same concept of email marketing is the same. Essentially, it's the same concept of email marketing. I do see them as being well worth your time, though. I really do. But even with that new technology or with that strategy, you still need to be getting eyeballs. You still need to be driving attention. A perfect messenger bot is not going to do you much good if you can't drive traffic to it. So if you're not doing enough in the organic sense of posting and being active in your community, in the online community, not in the, well, I guess outside community would do well as well. But if you're not driving traffic to it organically or in a paid format, then the perfect messenger bot isn't going to get you $1 million listing no matter what you do.
Right. And so in the messenger bots, if they're doing the same, I guess, ad or post over and over, it's avoiding the penalty of the replicas. Is that
so? Messenger bot is essentially when people opt in to have a conversation with you. If you run a Facebook ad, as an example, hey, here's a list of open houses this weekend. Are you interested? That's terrible ad copy. Don't use that because that won't get you any leads. But when people message, then they opt into your workflow, into the bot. So it does a good job of replicating almost like a human, if you will, in responses. So it's an automated follow-up where, are you interested in houses above 500,000? Yes. And it takes you down another path. Would you like to, how long do you, essentially it's the same questions that you would have if you're doing email marketing in the repetition standpoint or the follow-up system, or if you're filling out a lead form where you're being qualified along the way. The only difference is you're not behind the keyboard asking those questions. So the replicas and things of that nature, that's not going to be an issue if you're running paid ads. So you won't have to worry about that.
Right. Awesome. So what's up? What are you doing? What are you doing going forward? What's your plan starting today, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years? Where are you seeing yourself going as far as a vision with all your businesses? Where are you going to focus? What's in your thought process?
I'm all in on YouTube. I'm all in on LinkedIn. And the reason I'm doing YouTube more than ever is because it's more and more people are jumping on the YouTube and watching videos and consuming videos in that regard. So real relationships can be had that way, where people may not be interested in buying a house today, but if you taught them what the option money was, if you let them know what the differences are between new construction and resales, very powerful. You become the educator, the coach, and the trusted person that's sharing this information, because at no point did I say, hey, give me your money in order for you to have this information. This is just out there, right? So YouTube is something that as the attention gets larger, your community grows larger. I think there's just a powerful, and you see this, I mean, you have a large channel, there's a powerful relationship that you may not need to cash in that relationship yet, but at some future, you will be able to take a withdrawal at some point. So YouTube is fantastic. LinkedIn, I'm aggressive in it because the live feature, as I mentioned earlier, the video organic reach is still very, very hot. So this is in LinkedIn is where Facebook was about 4 or 5 years ago. It's a great way for you to gather attention quickly and grow it. So the organic reach in LinkedIn is being heavily promoted, and as well as the live feature as well. So those two platforms I am invested in quite a bit in getting some success in it, short term and long term.
I almost want to like cut that out of the podcast just because it's so new. And that's what people don't realize. The way I've created my biggest financial burst in my career is to identify early adopter stages or initial changes in a strategy that I can get in and do quickly and learn fast before everybody else does and really pound it home. For example, like why I saw the value in eXp Realty, right? And I'm talking about something that we use social media for. It's allowed me to partner with a lot of people that follow my channel all across North America. I think we're in 23 states and 2 countries now. And think about it, before, to work with someone like myself, you'd have to go through a consulting company and pay them a bunch of money. Now they can partner with industry leaders all across North America and join teams. For example, we're now partners with eXp Realty, right? And so through social media, we can work together and we can leverage our knowledge and our business models and everything we're doing together. Think about the help and support an agent would get joining your team with all your expertise in Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn marketing, which is one of the most sought after skill sets in real estate right now, is the ability to use social media. And now they can just reach out to someone like you and just say, hey man, I saw your podcast. Really cool. I want to do the same thing. And I'm also interested in joining, eXp Realty. I saw that you're in the company. And then they can have a conversation. And then they could potentially become partners. You can be in Texas. They can be in California. They can be in New York. So the cloud has not just changed, or the internet has not just changed social media, but it's changed what businesses are operating. I mean, think about how many people are using virtual assistants, in the Philippines, and the internet's just changed the world. Now, also, I know that you are taking on a lot of clients all across North America, as far as, you're having consulting and courses for Facebook because so many people are interested in this. So what are you doing with that? I think you have a Facebook course, if I'm not miscorrect.
I do have a Facebook course. The Google Ads course is coming out, and so is the YouTube Ads course is coming out. I had a first version of both, but Google Ads changes almost more than Facebook. Actually, not almost. It changes way more than Facebook. So that has been that has needed, and it has received an updated upgrade. So I will be releasing those two here in the next couple of weeks. And really, that's the most common way for people to work with me, outside of the partnership. So I've thought about doing a full-fledged agency, but my heart is not in that. Maybe in the future it will be, but right now it's more of either doing direct consulting per hour or courses. As far as the agency model, it's being done by a lot of people, and I understand that, but it's not something that I would personally want to get into at this time.
You mean it? Yeah, digital marketing agency is what you mean?
Yeah. I
mean, guys, throw a bunch of golden nuggets at you guys. So is there anything we didn't go over? Something that really big that you're doing on Facebook, or that, I may have missed because I just don't know enough to not know what I don't know. Is there anything we didn't cover that you can bring up?
Just done is better than perfect. And that's something that I'm learning right now. Done is better than perfect. There's only a certain amount of time in the day. And if you're waiting for that perfect, absolute killer post, the opportunity is going to come and fly by. So done is better than perfect. And regardless of what you do, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that's the best thing I can say there. And something else would be, don't be afraid of trying new platforms like TikTok. That is very, very powerful, and it's up and coming. And that is an opportunity for those people that don't have a following or don't have a voice in the larger spaces like Facebook or Instagram. You can be the first adopter there. So you mentioned it a few minutes ago. So just don't be afraid of trying something new, and give it a few weeks, few months to try it out. And if it's not for you, at least you tried. But Don't be resistant to changes as things present themselves, because there are opportunities for you to be that next thing, if you will, or that next person in the up and coming.
I mean, you just got to get out there and embarrass yourself and get out there and just do it. Like when you're saying that, it made me think. So I had this guy. So like I was never good at English. I'm part dyslexic, but I was basically like a math, what is the word, savant or whatever, I guess. So like I basically aced my math part, but I bombed my English part of my SATs. And so I've always done weird things where like, not chosen the right punctuation, or like I use YOUR versus YOURE. So I do these things all the time and I mess up because my mom was a book editor or publisher. So she would always review my papers in school. So I would just write them quickly to get them done and she'd go edit them. So I never had to learn that skill. So now when I film videos, people blast me all the time. They're like, you have apostrophes where you shouldn't have apostrophes. You have a misspelled word. Your punctuation's this and this. I'm like, look, guys, and I blasted this guy one time back and I was like, look, I don't care about apostrophes and grammar. I care about math and commas, and I have a lot more commas in my bank account than you. Just trying to hey guys, like, don't have to worry about being perfect. Grant Cardone has like 500 misspelled words in the 10X rule. Get content out, get business out, be seen, get your face out there, get noise around you, build the vibration around your brand or your name. Don't be so concerned with the little nuances, because perfectionism is a form of procrastination. And a lot of people try to do everything perfect and then they do nothing while someone else is out there taking action and just getting stuff out there, and they're going to grow way faster than someone who just...
It's a lot easier to critique from the stands than it is to be the quarterback. So that's the thing.
Here's the thing. So when you're little, a lot of people will bash you. Guys, you're never going to avoid it. There's nobody that's ever been on social media that hasn't had haters and hasn't been bashed and hadn't had people talk trash to them. There's just a lot of frustrated, angry people in the world. They're mad at the world, and they see someone on YouTube doing what they want to do, and then for that 1 second, that brief little moment, kind of like hitting a cigarette or something like that, where they have that they can bash you, and they have a couple people chime in. They feel like they took control of the situation. Now they're in the position of power, and that they're over you for at least 5 seconds or 10 seconds in the world. That's kind of, but really the haters help you grow a channel. So you just have to understand you're going to have X amount of people, small percentage love you, small percentage hate you, and everybody else is in the middle to be swayed either way. And that's what you're going for, is that middle ground. Then you're going to have the loyal followers. But yeah, if you guys are not thinking about getting on social media, hopefully this podcast inspired you to do so. You want to leave one last word of advice, Jaime, and then we'll wrap this one up and get it out there for them.
Well, again, I wish I wouldn't have said my previous one, because it's going to be my same one. Done is better than perfect. It really is. I mean, it's that powerful. You want to at least take some chances at bat, rather than be 20 years, 40 years down your career and thinking, that could have been me. So that would be a terrible career if that's you after you retire. It's not where I want to be.
Right. So you guys need to see your social media following as it accrues and builds up over the years as an asset to you. And it's going to build up over time. And I think a lot of people make a half-ass attempt and they put in a little bit of effort. They don't have the results, just like anything people do. They don't understand delayed gratification. They don't understand creating sustained momentum to build energy around it and to kind of get it to grow over time. And then they see short-term linear results and they compare that to how much time they're going to have to put in the future, but they don't see that it grows exponential. As your channel gets bigger, more people share, more people have conversations. They're like, hey man, I just came across this guy's YouTube channel. He had a great video on Facebook marketing, and then it just trickles out over time, and then it starts to grow faster and faster and faster and speeds up. So you see people sometimes spend 3 or 4 years to get to 50,000 subscribers, and then in the next year or two, they're over 1 million subscribers, just because that compound effect. And so guys, if you're getting frustrated that you're not getting the traction you want early, keep going. Don't give up. Just keep pushing. You'll gain traction eventually. So that'd be my advice. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Jaime, always fun to talk with you. Learn some things from you today myself. So I appreciate you coming on the show. And guys, we will see you on the next episode whenever it comes out. All right, have a good day.